Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the levels of commitment when it comes to backing political candidates and what that looks like for the sufficient six. Okay. So the sufficient six is who we're dealing with right now in the 2020 U.S. presidential primary candidacy. We're talking about Biden, Warren, Sanders. We're talking about Klobuchar, Buttigieg, and Steyer. These are the real contenders right now, okay? And they all have different levels of commitment among their followers. And I want to talk about this today because I don't think it's fully understood what it looks like to be committed to a political campaign. And I've been thinking a lot about this right now because I was very committed to a specific candidate, and that was Andrew Yang, right? Andrew Yang has recently withdrawn from the race. I'm incredibly sad about that. And now I have to determine what I'm going to do with my commitment. How do I attach to another candidate, or how do I engage with these candidates? So let's talk about how people actually interact with candidates. Okay, what are the level of commitments? So as I see it, there's three levels of primary commitment for candidates. Now, first of all, let's talk about voting and non-voting. We're not talking about voting and non-voting. That's a different level, okay? You can choose to vote or you can choose not to vote. That's its own special category, okay? And I will address that at some other time in some other video. So everything I'm about to say, you could do these things and vote, or you could do these things and not vote. A lot of people are going to be like, what? But trust me, that there are people who absolutely do everything I'm about to talk about and not vote. And there's people who do everything I'm about to talk about and vote, okay? So let's whip through these, okay? What are the three levels of commitment, okay? Booster, laborer, and funder. What's a booster? A booster is it's similar to an advocate. A booster is someone who boosts a candidate through talking about the candidate. All right, so I was absolutely a booster for Andrew Yang, okay? And by the way, they are hierarchical. Booster is lower than laborer. Labor is lower than funder, okay? All right, so a booster is someone who has conversations with people they know. It might be as simple as somebody saying to their friend, hey, here's a good one, like, a friend might say, Pete Buttigieg is a great candidate and you should vote for him. And their friend's like, I don't know how to vote for Pete Buttigieg. What kind of exciting policies does Pete have? And then the booster would say, well, Pete doesn't have exciting policies. That's not why you would vote for Pete Buttigieg. You could vote for Pete Buttigieg because he's a veteran. That's, that'd be a way to boost it. You'd say, he's been very dedicated. He's supported this nation. He gave you, his support by supporting you, through his service, and now you should support him with your vote. That's a booster, okay? And that's the lowest level of boosting is a simple conversation with your friend, right? With a single friend. And if you had a single friend and you boosted one candidate to a single friend, you are a booster, okay? Now, boosting can go way beyond that, okay? You can blog about a candidate. You can podcast about a candidate. You can YouTube about a candidate. I did that. I YouTubed about Andrew Yang for about 6 or 7, maybe 7 or 8 months, like nonstop, right? So that was boosting, and boosting can be really big. It can rally a lot of votes. It's really important, okay? So that's boosting activity. What is laboring? Laboring is incredibly important. It's canvassing. It's going door to door and knocking, okay? It's going out and getting signatures in states where you need to get on the ballot through signatures. And phone banking, calling people and saying, hey, can you give us your vote, okay? Can you support the campaign? Phone banking, canvassing, signature work. That's all incredibly important. The last one is funder, okay? This is somebody who donates directly to the campaign. It says, I'm all in. I really want to support this person, and I am going to support them for in their campaign. I'm going to support them in what they are attempting to do. That's very, very important, okay? So funder is the final level of support, and it is the highest level of support. because money in American politics is fuel. It is fuel. And I cannot tell you how incredibly important it is to the American political process. It is incredibly, incredibly important. And it's just, funding is so massively important that you cannot underestimate its importance, okay? So these are the levels of commitment that exist. Now, one of the things, or another reason why I wanted to identify this is I've seen a situation where there are situations where people are like, hey, where others will say, hey, you guys aren't donating, or you guys aren't laboring, right? And they'll point at the boosters, right? And they'll like call out the boosters for not helping enough. Very, very interesting, okay? I don't think this is helpful. I've seen this happen in different campaigns where a community that is supporting a candidate will start to infight and say, hey, boosting isn't enough. Laboring isn't enough. You got to be at the funder level. Or laborers will say, boosting isn't enough. You have to be at the laborer, right? But the reality is you need all of these. And if somebody is in there, if they're in the mix and they're doing what they can to help, it's important, and I think it should be acknowledged, and all of these are necessary. The problem is when you're doing nothing. That is the problem area. The problem becomes when you're doing nothing. And every single one of these candidates needs every single one of these layers. So Warren, Biden, Sanders, Buttigieg, Steyer, Klobuchar, they all need boosters. They all need laborers, and they all need funders. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the topic. Please let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.